Okay, let me deal with this. President Trump meeting with the Crown Prince of Bahrain right now at the White House. If he says something during the photo op, which he often does, we will bring it to you immediately. Now look at this. Check this out. The Dow Industrials now up 171 points and rising. Sea of green on the left-hand side. Why is this happening all of a sudden, as of the last few minutes? Because John McCain says he's a yes vote on taxes. The market went straight up at that point. Scott Martin, Kingsview Asset Management kind of guy, with us right now. Am I right? It was the McCain statement, yes on taxes, that's putting this market up nearly 180 points.
Yeah, definitely, Stuart. He was one of the holdouts, one of the ones we were worried about with respect to kind of standing in the way and the fact that he's on board. And it looks like, frankly, the details of this are working out okay. You know, I'm a little bit disappointed on the individual side with respect to the tax cuts or tax reform, whatever you want to call it. But on the business side, with respect to S&P 500 companies, the money that's repatriated when it comes back from being overseas, I think that's a great thing for your stock market and a great thing for your 401k.
I don't want to sound crazy, but do you think we might hit 25,000 fairly soon? I don't want to get too carried away in this, but you know, it only took 23 days to go, was it 23 or 43? 43 days to go from 23,000 to 24,000. Right. If it takes, you know, a couple of months to go to 25,000, is that in the cards?
Absolutely in the cards. And I think it's fun getting carried away. And it reminds me of a time, Stuart, that we were together. I mean, God, I miss being on set with you, my friend, back. I think it was like September-ish when we were talking about the passing of this tax reform and how I think Dow 25K back then was definitely a possibility. And that was some, you know, 10, 12% ago. So I think we could see 25K pretty easily here. In fact, with a little bit of luck and maybe a couple good pieces of economic data, which start tomorrow with the non-farm payrolls report, I think you're going to see Dow 25K by the end of the year.
Wait a minute. It is November the 30th.
Yes, December 1st tomorrow.
So December 1st tomorrow. There's 31 days in December. You telling me that it'll take 31 days and we'll be at 25,000? Seriously?
Absolutely, seriously. I'll put money on it. Now, here's the thing. Here's what's also funny about the numbers these days, though, right? I mean, another 1,000 points isn't what it once was. So getting 1,000 points in the Dow really doesn't take that much work anymore. I mean, it sounds crazy. It sounds carried away. But the reality is the momentum is back in the market because of the tax reform coming through. Okay. And I think that's a great reason to be optimistic.
Let's deal with this real fast. Big technology companies, the five biggies, they took a big hit yesterday and the days preceding. Would you buy on the dip? A lot of people are buying on the dip, and in the past, it's worked because the stocks have gone straight back up. You buying the big techs today?
Absolutely would be. If you've got free cash, if you've missed some of the run-up that we've talked about on this show for months and quarters now, you got to take these opportunities like yesterday where there's absolutely a watershed event and start legging into these tech stocks because of the fact that they're a big part of your life. They're going to be a bigger part of your life going forward. And the earnings power of these tech stock companies, Stuart, are absolutely off the charts. So I would definitely start to leg in here if you don't have any of them before earnings kick in at the beginning of next year.
I've got 1 minute left, and I want to go in the other direction. I'm looking at Sears. Now, the stock at the moment is rallying because in the future they're going to focus on specialty stores, I think, just appliances, mattresses, refrigerators, specialty areas like that. They think they can do well in it, and the stock is up 4.5%. Would you back them? Would you buy Sears stock at $4 a share?
No, I wouldn't. And we don't really look at stuff that's kind of down in those areas, Stuart. But it does go to show you that as an investor, as a trader, things can get so ugly that eventually stocks do look pretty again. And I'll tell you another stock that's starting to get there. Sears is one today, and GE is starting to get there too. Eventually, GE is going to get so bad that it's going to start looking good. And I think we saw that as well this morning with Kroger. You know, I think about the grocery stores and produce and all the last mile stuff they're doing. And I think of the onions, let's say, speaking of produce, that it takes to buy a Kroger or a Costco after Amazon did that Whole Foods deal, my friend. And I'll tell you what, those companies, those stocks got so bad, they started to look good. And look what's happened if you bought into those in the summer.
I've got 20 seconds left. Scott, is Bitcoin a bubble, and would you touch it with a 10-foot pole?
I wouldn't even touch it with the money that you put into People's Express stock. How does that sound? I will tell you, though, my friend, that eventually Bitcoin and some of these cryptos are going to come to light. I'm worried about the liquidity of them. I'm worried about the current valuation. Once you get more ETF ownership of them, once you get these futures that are going to be traded on the CME here in Chicago, once liquidity ticks up, once you actually get some true valuation, that's when you could book it into your portfolio.
All right, Scott, thanks very much indeed for being with us. It's a very exciting day, and we appreciate you being here. Look at this. Now we're up 181.